At times I'm lost, at times I'm incredibly hurt, but I'm also like, you made it, you did it. But you're not over with yet. You're still doing more, and you still have more to give. You have more to give to your wife, you have more to give to yourself, you have more to give to the world. A little town where I was born is called DeRidder, Louisiana. Very small population. That's kind of where it starts, but at the age of 8 was whenever I first experienced that DCFS station wagon that came and picked me and my brother up. My mother and father, I believe, were kids in high school. We're young, and here I am. And then we were in and out of the women's shelters at times because I believe there was abuse. I think it kind of stemmed out a little bit more and got on me. People in school would notice how we'd appear, how we were severely neglected and didn't have like the proper clothing, and we were dirty. I'm still trying to remember my childhood now. I'd never heard of foster care. I'd never heard of people not living with their parents. I think you watch movies, I'm a 90s kid, so maybe like Lilo and Stitch or even like Angels in the Outfield. You know, these stories were my story, and I didn't even realize it when I was a child. I'm watching a kid that's me. No, there was no recollection or even idea of what foster care is. And in that first foster home, my brother and I were able to stay together for a little while. And I'm not sure what happened or what the situation was, but they split us. And then I go into my second foster home. The foster care situation turned into kinship care. I get placed with my grandfather. It had its peaceful moments in the beginning, but things progressively, they weren't meshing as time went on. It was about 5 years that I lived with him. The difficulty were the threats. As a child in foster care, you're already taken away from your family and placed with people that you don't even know. But then you get placed back with people that you do know and that you love. You just want affection, you want their love, you want their acceptance. There was never any telling to me that I love you, that you mean something. And it was always, the love language on his end was more of a work ethic. It's like, you're gonna work your way to have my love. And then him drive up one day on the hill, because we lived out in the woods, and say, you can't live here anymore. And then all of a sudden, it ends. So he finds some friends of the family, and it's like I'm in foster care again. I'm probably about 12, maybe 13 years old. Yeah, I'm reliving the trauma that I experienced at 8. And then one day, and I don't even remember the timeline, it might have been maybe a year. One day I show up and my stuff's on the doorstep. This time it's my grandfather picking me up, and he's taking me to another friends of the family home. And there were good moments, but there are always never sweet endings with any of these families. They get me in contact with my mother again, and I haven't had contact with my mother since I'm 8, you know? There is one catalyst moment that was beautiful in my life. You know, we were living in a camper trailer again, and I'd lived in some really weird homes with her throughout this process, and she's driving me all the way to school. And I have to tell her, like, one day, I'm like, you don't have the ability to support me and take care of me. Like, we've got to do something. Like, I can't live like this. You know, I don't even think the court system knew where I was at and where I was going. I fell significantly through the cracks. I fell down the Grand Canyon. There was this defining moment where I had to take ownership of my life and say, hey, is there anyone that you feel that I could live with in family that would be great? And they just treat me so good. He just treated me with respect. He didn't treat me like I was a vagrant, like I was only gonna be there for a little while. He treated me like I was his grandson, and I wasn't even really his biological grandson. Finally, I have a place, I have a home, and I started doing really well in school again, and I graduate with honors, and I get all these different scholarships. And my freshman year in college passes away. I'm leaving that past behind. I'm leaving all of those scars behind. I feel like this is where I need to go. I know that I want to be somebody. I'm like, what can I do? And within these past years, that fire has been there, and it's like, tell your story. I feel like if I've been able to make it this far in life and have this courage and confidence. One of the worst things in the entire planet, in the entire universe or multiverse, the entire galaxies, multi-galaxies, that anyone could say to a former foster youth or a foster youth in general is just get over it. I feel like there are a lot of others that can benefit from an inspiring story such as this, and know that no matter what you go through, no matter what adversity you have, you can overcome, and you can have a purpose.